Would you consider yourself a rule breaker? We're recording outside the FBI radio studio in a park in Redfern today, breaking all of the rules. So yes, I would consider myself a measured rule breaker. I like to see just how far I can breach the boundaries without getting into too much trouble. And I would say rules are just a mere guideline. They can be broken just a little bit. You're listening to All the Best from FBI Radio 94.5. I'm Gabriella Accaria. This week, we're throwing the rulebook out of the window and we're going to explore the history of pirate radio in Australia, breaking a Kite Festival's only rule, and the strange things people use as bookmarks. But before we get into this week's stories, this NAIDOC week, I want to acknowledge that I'm recording from stolen and Gadigal land, and I pay my respects to Gadigal elders past and present. I also recognise that the area where FBI radio is situated, Redfern, has long been a place of storytelling, strength, resistance and resilience for First Nations communities. So, back into me treating rules as a mere guideline, I went to a very strict, regimented Catholic girls' school, and the most I could do was throw on a little necklace or wear a little bit of a shorter sock, and that I did, and I treated that as the most radical decision I could ever do. Recording this from community radio, it's interesting to think about the foundations. Why does it exist between public broadcast and commercial radio? Audiences can get content that they want to hear and doesn't exist elsewhere. We have to remember that this comes from a revolutionary moment in sound in Australia. In this first story, Lindsey explores anarchy on the airwaves. A content warning. There are homophobic slurs in this story, so please listen with care.
It's Friday the 28th of February, the last day of the work week and month. Both in the sweltering heat of Newcastle, it also marks the last day for a criminal operation. Authorities enter a home in Tighes Hill. They're searching for equipment capable of producing illicit content. Content that could see the homeowner face a $26,000 fine or 2 years in prison. But it isn't drugs or sexual content on their mind. When entering the attic, their 9-year investigation comes to an end. What they found is a radio station.
At the start, I was quite paranoid about getting turned off the air.
This is Justin Moon, a Newcastle DJ whose home was raided that fateful day. For nearly a decade, he operated a reggae station aptly called Trojan FM.
In Newcastle, we have absolutely zero choice for terrestrial radio content. I spend a lot of time on work sites. Every site you go to, everyone's listening to the radio. And it's basically Triple J or Triple M. And I just was like, we've got to do something about this.
When surfing the airways, one might encounter a station that lacks an official call sign. The content of these stations can seem professional.
You're listening to CBN, Australia's #1 rock and roll pirate.
Or a bit juvenile.
Now, why have you come to visit the Urona studios tonight?
I would like to let the people know about the rights of gay, leftist, fascist Catholic priests.
Activity from these stations are usually short-lived, whether by the free will of its operators or most commonly by outside forces.
Hey, listen. Oh no, it sounds like we're getting raided.
These stations lack a license to operate on the airways, making them a prime target for regulatory bodies like ACMA. They've gone by various names throughout history, but a term that commonly defines them is pirate radio. Some might consider pirate radio a thing of the past, but not entirely. The aforementioned crackdown on Justin's home happened in 2025. Furthermore, ACMA has acknowledged that pirate radio remains a persistent issue in the 21st century. But for what purpose? Why do these broadcast bucketeers risk a bounty for some airwave booty? What place will it have in Australia's evolving audio landscape? And what impact lies behind its spotted history? Once radio began broadcasting in 1923, piracy would grow alongside it. Through the watchful eye of the Postmaster General, many regulations were enforced, but with many laws came many ways to be a pirate. The malicious broadcast thief is an obvious archetype, but unintentional actions also led to radio piracy. Operators using super regenerative receivers would find themselves bleeding into the frequencies of others. But a third radio pirate could be found amongst the listeners. The first year of national broadcast coincided with the still set scheme. Listeners paying a hefty subscription fee were given a radio set fixed to only one station. Many bypass the scheme with makeshift receivers or modified sealed sets. The public's opposition reflected the low subscriber count, 1,400 to be exact. Less than a year after its implementation, the federal government swiftly abolished the scheme in favour of a two-tier system, defining stations as Class A, publicly funded, or Class B, commercially funded. Allowing broad options attracted 80,000 licensed listeners by 1925. The simplified model may have found public approval, but it wouldn't be resistant to change. The 70s saw pirate radio evolve from a rogue hobby to a tool of greater social defiance. At this time, vocal opposition was growing against military conscription for the Vietnam War. Amongst the committed activists, 4 draft resistors took to the airwaves. From the 28th to the 30th of September 1971, the Union House at Melbourne University became a fortified refuge and the centre of a siege. Within the building's walls was the pirate radio station 3DR, and its mission was to disseminate anti-war content. This makeshift compound wouldn't be enough to deter 150 officers from storming the building. 3DR's choice to commit radio piracy was no whim decision. In a radio landscape backed by commercial interests and a pro-conscript government, an incentive was made to carve a third space for underrepresented voices. 3DR's broadcast would spawn a larger movement, demanding an independent radio sector. Subsequent pirate stations sprouted across the country, like 3PR and FU2 Radio. Many affiliates of these stations would unite in 1974 to form the Community Radio Federation. Persistent lobbying to the government would result in the formation of community radio. Decades of rebellious actions have clearly pushed the diversity of modern Australian radio, but these options remain inadequate to some. The modern radio pirate, like Justin, believes that the risk is better than the legal process. To legally broadcast, amateur operators must apply and compete for an LPON license. At the cost of $2,000 plus, an approved candidate is allocated 1 watt when transmitting from a residential area, and 10 watts for non-residential broadcasts. The high costs, limited coverage, and low chances for approval have been the main factors for aspiring operators to commit piracy.
When you think radio station, you think quite lavish and complicated setup that's worth a lot of money, and it's actually not true. You can do it with an iPod and a $40 homemade box and really not much of an antenna. My antenna was this tiny little thing sitting on the top of my chimney. Like, my first transmitter cost me about $40 in parts. Like, you really don't need much skill or money to to start something like this, you know.
As Australia becomes one of the top countries for DAB and podcast consumption, pirate radio seems unlikely to attract mass appeal. But the mainstream isn't a factor. The niche interest in pirate radio stations has the potential to attract a cult following in a physical area. Plus, some find the thrill in breaking the law to be all the more enticing.
It's just got a punk vibe to it, you know. It's fun, because it's a bit naughty. Taking the matter into your own hands and just doing it is just much more appealing to me.
Pirate radio's defiant spirit will ensure its longevity and accessibility. With broadcast tips and equipment freely available online, ACMA's approach to combat radio piracy must change with the times. As pirate radio operators demand more diverse content for their local community, ACMA may need to consider selecting applicants by their broadcast potential rather than the cash they offer. Failing to adapt may see more daring pirates stealing the airwaves.
From FBI Radio, you're listening to All the Best, supported by the Art Gallery of New South Wales. I'm Gabriella Accaria. That first story was written and produced by Lindsey Vassallo. Maybe you're not being radical on the radio. Maybe you're the kind of rule breaker, like me, that likes to test the boundaries just to see how far you can take things. In this second story, Lachlan lets his little anarchist flag fly, or rather, his kite fly, at a kite flying festival.
I've got 3 kites with me, one big one that I'm just holding in my hand. That's almost like a decoy. I'm expecting them to take that one off me. Then I have a smaller one that I put inside of a bag. If they're checking bags, they'll probably see it. And then I have a third, teeny tiny one, handmade out of a napkin and some dental floss that I'm gonna hide under my shirt. making my approach now. I could pretty easily just jump the fence, but it's not in the spirit of the challenge. I want to see if they take the kite off me. It's also a ticketed event, like you had to register to get here. It was free, but you still had to register. And maybe quite sneakily, I've got 3 tickets, there's only one of me, but 2 extra for the big kites. So if they ask questions, on some level, they are allowed to be here. Walking through the gates now, it actually doesn't look like they're checking tickets. Wait, am I about to just walk through? What? This feels too easy. How have I gotten in? No one's checking tickets. And there are kites everywhere. Have people brought their own kite? Okay, well, I'm inside. I'm in the Kite Festival and I'm holding my kite. I didn't even hide it. Has everyone just brought their own kite? Excuse me. Did you bring your own kite? Did you get that?
No, you can get it from here.
Are they free?
No.
Oh, how much was it?
25 for 3 kites like this and a roll of thread like that.
I was kind of expecting there to be like security patrolling around, taking personal kites off people. I feel like kind of an idiot. I spent so much time sitting in the car before I came in, building my own kite. Secret kite to get in. No one's even checked my ticket. Anyone could have walked in here with any kind of kite. I should have been more ambitious. I mean, I've got 3 kites. It's pretty ambitious already. I gotta find someone to talk to. Did you bring this kite that you've got from home?
No, I brought it here.
Did you see on the poster it said no outside kites are allowed? You can't bring a kite yourself?
Oh, I didn't really notice.
No.
I don't really own a kite, so
okay,
yeah.
That's fine. So you just brought one from here?
Yeah.
Where did you get the kite from?
From the station over there.
So you bought it here?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you planning on bringing your own kite today, or?
No.
Is this a kite that you've brought from home?
This one actually I bought it from here, from the shop. But I got my own kite, which is coming all the way from Afghanistan, Kabul.
Oh, wow.
But this thread is not strong enough to hold it.
Okay. Yeah. So is that the only reason you didn't bring that kite inside?
I actually got it here and I tried to fly it as well, but as soon as I fly it, because of the wind, it's too heavy, so it's just cut off.
Because this kite I brought myself, but there was a rule on the website that said you can't bring your own kites. You have to get them here.
That's right, but no one is asking you, so you can bring your own kite.
I thought I was going to get it taken off me as I was walking in. I was testing to see if they're enforcing it.
Yeah, when I bought my kite, and the guy, he said, yes, last year he come here, and the rule was, to not bring your kite, but he said you can take it, no one asking, so I got my own kite there.
So it seems like there is a rule that you can't bring your own kite. No one cares about it, but also not many people own kites. So the vast majority of people here are obeying the rule. But if they chose not to, like me, I doubt much would happen.
From FBI Radio, you're listening to All the Best. I'm Gabriella Accaria. That second story was written and produced by Lachlan as part of a show called Sydney Tonight on 2SER. So I probably do the most blasphemous thing known to man, or specifically literature lovers, and that is dog-earing library books. So yeah, I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a rule breaker. But if you think that's bad, wait until you hear all of the strange things that people use as bookmarks.
Thank you. Do you know what sparks joy for me? A big pile of books by my bed. I don't even have to read them. Just knowing that they're there, with their promise of other worlds, other lives, and multiple realities is enough. I feel calmer and happier, knowing my ability to escape and live other lives is close at hand. And I know I'm not alone. So many of us have piles and piles of books. By the bed, by the bath, in the toilet, in stacks, in our living rooms, on bookcases. Our books are with us wherever we are. And that means we use whatever's at hand, wherever we are, as a bookmark. It's no surprise then that librarians end up discovering some very strange things inside returned library books. When I heard about a collection of unusual bookmarks gathered by librarians in regional Victoria, I knew it was a story I wanted to include in my podcast, Meet Me at the Library. That's where I met a librarian named Jess. who, together with her colleagues, has been collecting these forgotten bookmarks for more than a decade. Every couple of years, they put them on display at Castlemaine Library in one of the most unusual exhibitions you'll ever see. Here's Jess explaining how it all began and some of the things that they've discovered inside returned library books.
This was started in 2011 and it's an exhibition that we call Ex Libris Detritus, things that fall out of books. So it was started by the then librarian Robin Anea, who is a Castlemaine local legend, I would say, and she was working at the library and she just started collecting all the things that fell out of library books. And you wouldn't believe the kinds of things that fall out. So she just squirreled them away and popped them in a box. And for the 2011 Castlemaine State Festival, she decided to pin them all up on a board and have an exhibition. And people were really amazed. They were blown away. And I think part of it was the weird and wacky things that were up on that exhibition. But I reckon part of it was because it was a bit of a secret glimpse into the life of the library. You know, like people just don't kind of think about things coming back in library books that might be a little bit illicit or a little bit, wacky in their nature.
So what are the things that fall out of books?
Wow, yeah. I think my favourite ones are the shopping lists. There's a whole bunch of shopping lists here. I love how most of these shopping lists include wine in really big letters. Some of them have little the start of a song written on them as well. Some of them are sort of like a wandering poem of tissues and socks and caramel icing. Some of them, I found this one before and I thought, I wonder what they were going to make because the shopping list says coffee, marshmallows, almonds and 20 kilos of carrots. So, who knows what was going on that day. So I love those. There's a list and, then there's the slightly possibly more illicit things like the perfectly pressed dope leaf that we found. You can see here, this one has been my personal favourite. It's a positive pregnancy test. And that was used as a bookmark and that person might now be 10 years old.
Another popular item that people tend to use as bookmarks are photographs.
Do you want to describe what's going on in this photo, Anne-Marie, or should I?
So there's a man in a hot tub in a beautiful tropical location surrounded by lots of leaves and foliage, and he's nude, but his private little region has been covered up with a black love heart.
That someone has glued very carefully in place. Photos are quite precious, I think. So if we do see a photo and we know the family or the people in it, then we always try and reunite them back. But there's some great photos of, little kids. There's some photos that kind of date back to the 70s and 80s, and you can tell by the decor and the clothes that they're wearing and stuff. Fantastic.
Do you ever get people coming up to you when the items are on exhibition and claiming things?
Oh, yeah. So quite a few things have been claimed. Actually, Robin, when she started the exhibition, had a comments book and she said, if any of these things are yours, just write your name in the back and we'll make sure we get it back to you. So there's a few things there. I think sometimes a few people are a bit embarrassed to claim what's up there. There was one year where there was a pair of underpants that was used as a, clean underpants, I must say, used as a bookmark. And yeah, the family said, they actually belong to our daughter. Can we have them back? So they've gone back. Yeah. There's lots of little receipts. There's love letters, but there's also things like a packet of the elastics that you put on your braces. That's a bit gross. I want to keep that sealed up, actually. There's little books that kids have, little stories that they've written. This one's called Dressed Up Cats. There's notes. I found some beautiful notes. One of them, I might just read aloud. This is a note between two little sisters. It says, "Dear Eloise, I love you lots. Sorry for making you bleed and punching and kicking you." Lots of love from Heidi. So that's interesting. This one is a personal favourite, and I don't know why I like it so much. I think it's the exclamation points in the note, but it says, Trent, we'll be home for tea. Please shut the gate if you're going out. Love, Mum. And then Trent has written next to it, I won't be home for tea. And then a few kisses. I don't know. I love that one.
Jess let me have a look around that special box that contains all of the accumulated objects found in library items. And would you believe it? There was something that I recognised in there.
Oh, really? You've seen it up on the exhibition?
I haven't seen it on exhibition yet, but I have seen it in the box.
It's yours! I love that note. I saw that just before. Yes. Fantastic.
It's a note that my husband wrote to one of our neighbours.
He was obviously a bit upset this morning, Henry. It says, your dog has been barking from 5 a.m. constantly. It is extremely loud and annoying. This happens often. It's now 6:30 a.m. Your dog is still barking. I must confess, this one's gone up on nearly every exhibition because we love it.
And just to close the loop on that story, it's possible that the note worked because my husband hasn't been woken up by our neighbour's dog in a really, really long time. As Jess was describing all of the things that people use to mark their place in a book, I kept thinking about how books, and library books in particular, are woven throughout our lives. They're there from childhood through to old age. And we often think of libraries as places where we go to find things, to find books, information or ideas. But we don't often think about the things that we leave behind. Every day, people walk through the doors of public libraries carrying their lives with them. And sometimes they leave a piece of themselves behind. A photograph, a ticket, a shopping list. Or occasionally, a pair of underpants or a pregnancy test. Proof that a real life was here, somewhere between the pages. Thank you.
From FBI Radio, you're listening to All the Best, and I'm Gabriella Accaria. This story was produced as part of a live storytelling event held at the State Library of New South Wales, called Special Collections in March 2026. The story was originally featured on the podcast Meet Me at the Library, produced by Anne-Marie Middlemast with the assistance of the Community Broadcasting Foundation. And if you're looking for some more guides around rule breaking, or you just love audio stories, keep listening to All the Best for audio adventures from around the corner and around the country. New episodes drop Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Sydney time, and you can find scores of local stories in our archive at allthebestradio.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to learn how to make a radio story, get in touch. All the Best Radio is made at FBI Radio on Gadigal land, and it features producers, stories and voices from unceded Aboriginal lands across so-called Australia. We're made possible by the Community Broadcasting Foundation, and we're sponsored by the Art Gallery of New South Wales. Kwame Slasher is our production manager. Katarina Fraga-Matos is our community and events coordinator. The All the Best executive producer is Mel Bakewell. Imogen Brosnan is our digital media trainee, and a special shout out to all of our amazing volunteers. Shining Bird composed our theme music, and Annie Hamilton designed the artwork. You can find our full archive of almost 700 episodes at allthebestradio.com.
But I have a question for you, Gabriella. What is the strangest thing you've used as a bookmark?
It's not too rogue. I've definitely used a receipt, a tissue, not a snotty one though, I don't think. What about you, Kwame?
My cat's tail. Let me explain. Her tail is still attached to her. She does this thing where she will sit on the armrest of the chair while I'm reading, and she'll drape the tail across my lap. And then one time, I just didn't have a bookmark on me and I needed to get up. So I thought, this could work. And she didn't seem to mind.
Legend has it that that cat's tail is still used as a bookmark. Make sure to listen in to the broadcast on FBI Radio this Sunday, 12th of July at 9:30 for a special collaboration for NAIDOC Week, where All the Best teams up with Race Matters to bring you Beyond the Bars, a series of live prison broadcasts platforming Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander inmates in Victoria, from 3CR in Naarm. I'm Gabriella Accaria. Thanks for listening.